Welcome back to the Syndicate. I set out to make a video on how to handle our Don Colt, but during my analysis, I realized this game is a landmine. One wrong move, and the whole thing explodes. Let's dissect the wreckage and see who blows up first. At move 8, our hitman to B3 looks like a natural play, but it's a tactical mistake. The rival family can exploit this the Chupacabra way. With C5, they're not just harassing Don Colt, they're seizing the initiative, storming the center, and starting to suffocate our hitman. If our family lets Don Colt hold that E5 outpost, we're digging our own grave. The Queenside gang closes in on the hitman with C4, sealing his fate. If the family wises up and tries to stop the C4 push, it gives the green light to unleash their hitman, locking our Don Colt in a pin and reigniting the pressure from the gang. White might try to clean up the mess by moving the hitman to F4 to hunt down the beast. But here is the call. How do you command the Black Syndicate in a spot like this? Chipface approves the trade as it cracks the Godfather's defense, but reinforcing the beast's presence with Don Colt is a smart move too. If the family snipes Don Colt, their reinforcements take his place without hesitation. Once we drag our hitman out of the pit from B3 and start eyeing their mob on B7, Blunderbox wants them to pull in Molly for the save. But hold on, Molly D7 is a rookie mistake. It just forces a trade on E5. And Molly C8? Are you kidding me? We don't waste our heavy hitters babysitting dead-weight assets. But make no mistake, the real poison of Molly C8 isn't protecting the B7 mob. That's just a bonus. The true intent is this lethal tactical threat. Let's rewind to the moment the rival family missed the gang strike. Instead, they played a total dead end. H6 doesn't fight for the center, doesn't bring any muscle into the fight, and fails to create or stop any kind of threats. The Syndicate lashes out with F4. It is a double-edged sword. While it opens the Godfather's defense, our only goal is to evict Don Colt from his prime territory. I don't see why the rival family pulled back to G6. Don Colt G4 was the real power move. It gains tempo on the hitman, dominates F2 and H2 for potential strikes, and leaves our family desperate, forcing us to offer up the hitman just to keep this diagonal secured. Don Colt on D4 wasn't pulling any strings, so the sharpest play for our crew was to jump him to F5. White opted for the safe route with H3. It's solid, but it definitely lacks the bite. The most active follow-up for the rival family would have been pushing C5 and B5. If our crew clears the B5 asset, Don Colt finally steamrolls the E4 mob, wiping out the defender of F5. So, what's the play for that Don Colt on F5? The answer is ruthless. It is another steamroll on the H6 mob. That gains tempo with a check, opening the gates for Molly to storm into the center and put the squeeze on the opposing brick and Don Colt. However, Black decided to develop with Hitman D7. Developing is fine, sure, but ever since my Chupacabra is back video, I've realized the truth. In this game, creating and eliminating threats matters far more than just textbook development. The family pushed A4, and the opponent replied in kind with A6. Then white slipped up, parking Molly on f3. That is a mistake that gives the rival family the opening to shove c5 with tempo. If Don Colt lands on f5, they can distract the e4 blockader of the queenside mob structure by sniping Don Colt down, and even terminating the mob silently. And if we retreat to e2, then b5 locks up a serious advantage on the queenside. The opposition fumbled, missing the mark with c6. Our family then made a cold-blooded move, sending Molly to g3. It sets up 2 tactical strikes from the shadows, forcing the rival family to respond instantly or pay the price. Godfather to h8 is the clinical way out. Now, you might look at this and think that Hitman slaying f7, Brick smashing f7, and Molly snuffing out Don Colt on g6 is a winning hand for us. But watch out. Instead of Brick takes f7, the rival family pulls the trigger on the Colt, jumping from g6 to f4. If you get greedy, trying to grind that horse into cold cuts with the Hitman, and then snuffing out that mob on d6, that is where the rival family pulls the rug out from under you. The merciless counter-strike is Hitman to h3. This sets up Molly to erase Don Colt with check. To prevent this, e5 is the only move. But after the Hitmen trade-off, Molly pins Don Colt from b6 anyway, and the rival family has successfully restored the status quo. The power struggle continued. Molly to f2 was a minor slip-up, leaving the door wide open for the rival family to optimize the Hitman with c5 and repositioning him to c6. But they played kindly, and even allowed the obvious threat of Hitman b6. Once Molly fled to the only available escape hatch, the Syndicate turned the screws again, re-establishing those double tactical threats with Molly g3. As the game continued, the board tightened into a standoff until the rival family positioned Don Colt on e5. Here, our family made a questionable call by trading our outposted Hitman on b6 for a passive asset. The rival family opted to recapture with Molly, thinning the defense of the key figure on e5, a move that left them vulnerable. The next move is Don Colt to f3, putting the heat on that well-positioned rival on e5. Now, is this liquidation good or bad for Black? Well, it is bad business as it leaves the d6 mob exposed and allows the recapture with tempo. But if the family forces the duel, the rival strengthens his position even after losing a mob. The reason is simple. The untouchable Brick in the center now harasses the backward mob on e4, and even Molly is able to gain tempo when attacks the Hitman. As the Syndicate increased the pressure on d6, they made a mistake. If you have a shrewd mind, you might find the best move for the family. No more time to think. It is Brick f1, aiming to activate Don Colt on c3, who has been biding his time. The activation plan involves e5, followed by Don Colt e4, as the Brick now protects the f5 mob from the shadows. In the game, Molly was shuffled to h4, then finally, Black pulled the trigger with c5, but he chose the absolute worst moment. He gifted Don Colt a prime outpost on d5, gaining tempo on Molly, turning the d6 mob into a sitting target, and ignoring a tactical threat entirely. This innocent pawn push alone leaves the ledger 3 points in the red. Pause the video and weigh your options. If you think the classic octopus setup with Don Colt d5 is the best, then you missed it, like me. What can be more powerful than that? What about an untouchable Molly on the 7th rank? A connected passed mob with 2 pawns advantage and locking the Godfather in jail. Or perhaps some tactical strikes. Let's see how they get torn apart. This is why the hasty Don Colt jump fails. The opposition just offers a queen exchange to avoid the immediate punishment, and the syndicate has to accept it in order to keep the pressure. Now, let's examine the Godfather in jail concept in 2 more scenarios. Take the 2024 clash between Carlson and Rapport. White was down a brick, yet Black had only one option to hold the line. Otherwise, the Godfather ends up in jail. Black missed the mark, choosing to protect a mob on d5 instead. Watch the evaluation bar. -5. That is the price of letting your Godfather get thrown into the dungeon while under heavy fire. The third scenario is where Molly gains tempo on the hitman. If you get cocky and try to trap the Godfather with a hitman g6 check, you are in for a surprise. Your position doesn't gain any traction. In fact, you bleed half a point of equity. Why did the concept fail? Well, you tried to build a prison in thin air, without dominance in the center, without mating threats up your sleeve, and without even being in the endgame. Enough theory. Let's get back to the job at hand. It's no surprise our family sought the octopus hold, with Don Colt on d5. The rival family immediately offered a queen exchange. The standard playbook says you decline that trade when you hold the initiative, but Blunderbox disagrees. We can understand it, using the Predator's creed, as if we move Molly, she can't terrorize any prey. Solving schemes is not an option for her, either, as the opponent's attacking possibilities are quite limited. The family refused the trade, and after the opponent shifted the brick to c8, we seized the best spot for Don Colt. From there, the operation turned chaotic. Both sides began leaking value, culminating in that reckless brick shuffling. White missed a simple tactical assault, but a few moves later used the pin on the d-file to promote the pawn into a runner, and ultimately queening it. It was a minefield for both sides, but Black handed over the detonator and blew his own operation apart. If you don't want to blow your face off like that, join the Chupacabra pack to stash more chess weapons.